Hello and welcome to What Culture Horror with myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well, I hope you're good, and I hope your 2025 is getting off to a solid start for you. On that regard, 2025 has started off myself with an early watch of Thorda Paulson's The Damned, which is out now in UK and US cinemas and having runs in various other markets. Now, I've yet to have chance myself to watch Nosferatu as of this recording. That is on my hit list for the weekend, and I cannot wait. So, in terms of new horror movies, as in ones watched for the first time at least, 2025 so far for me, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. Firstly, I really enjoyed Something in the Water, which is a shark movie that was released last year. But hey, I am one of those where I'm a sucker for any and all shark movies, regardless. But that one was actually really good, really well made, really nicely paced. Away from that, I gave Death PhD a go on Tubi. That was a film, again, released towards the end of last year, focusing on some PhD students who can pass their course should they spend the night in a haunted house. Let's just say that one was a little more so-so. The point being that my 2025 was on the hunt for some truly great horror. I do have the Street Trash remake ready there to watch later today. I'm very much looking forward to that. But does The Damned, does that do enough to wow as we look ahead at a hugely promising year for horror? Let's find out. Now, from writer-director Thorda Paulson, best known for the Valhalla murders, The Damned is a 19th century Nordic horror built around a small fishing community. Filmed in Iceland in 2023, first and foremost, The Damned looks absolutely stunning. Be that it's shots of idyllic beauty or how the colour palette and the kind of icy chill in the air help play into the tension and terror of the film as the story unravels. As for that story, it's one based around one huge decision and the consequences of that decision. As mentioned here, we have a small fishing community, a fishing outpost, as it were, led by Odessa Young's Eva, who is the person in charge of this crew after the passing of her husband. With supplies running low, Eva and her group have barely enough food to get by themselves, to the point that they're even starting to eat their own fishing bait. So, when they witness in the distance a ship sinking on their waters, that throws up quite the conundrum. Do our crew help those stranded on this wreckage, or do they leave them to drown in the icy waters? After all, without enough supplies to go around as it is, bringing more people into the camp means more mouths to feed, which in turn means even less for those already struggling to get by. It's quite the pickle, I'm sure you will agree. Now, the trailer and the marketing push for The Damned makes it clear what the decision has been made, as in reluctantly leaving this ship and its crew to drown. The bulk of the film, though, then revolves around the fallout of this, as dead bodies wash up on shore, and the ominous presence of a Draegur looms large. What's a Draegur? Which I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of, you ask? Why, that is a creature from Nordic folklore, an undead beast that's out for vengeance and can cause people's minds, let's say, to play tricks on them, shall we say. From there, The Damned then throws up questions of what's real, what's not real, as Paulson's film delicately delivers a genuinely eerie, unsettling story that, let's say, it keeps you guessing right until the very end. Seriously, right until the end, which I will say no more on. As I alluded to, The Damned is a stylish movie. Be that, thanks to its setting, how the film is framed, or in its excellent score from Stephen McKeon. Now, that score, it really nicely captures the bristling Nordic cold, and dare I say, even has a smidge of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre to it, with some of the beats and sounds, just like how it uses those noises and just to create that kind of eerie atmosphere. It's really smartly done. And it's not just the score that hits home either. For The Damned, it's one of those films that so brilliantly uses silence to convey its story at times. Why use music or dialogue when you can have the natural elements, the natural weather, the natural environment and body language do an even better job in conveying your emotions? It doesn't always have to be, over the top. And that's really where The Damned comes into its own. It's kind of, a lot of it is less is more at times, and it really works all the better for that. Now, despite only being a brisk 90 minutes, though, The Damned, it never rushes its story. It's a relatively slow burning tale, regardless of that short runtime, because, 90 minutes, I think technically it's actually 89 minutes, and that's including your credits, so it's not a long film, but it manages to still kind of feel that like one of those classic slow burning tales where it kind of hooks you in for the ride. It doesn't rush through anything. It's really carefully crafted, and it's kind of that crafting, the time taken, the care taken, That's what really makes the final 10, 15 minutes so impactful. And the end result, again, I'm not going to get into spoilers, obviously, but it is one of the more surprising endings I've seen in a good little while, shall I say, on that. Oh, and and this is nothing to do with the ending, but there's an eel sequence too. That's all I'm going to say on that. If you know, you know. That will stay with you long after you've finished The Damned. So keep an eye out for that. As for performances, Odessa Young, who the last time I saw her was in the Stand miniseries from God, that was released kind of, was it just before the pandemic or during, around about 2020, 21? That most recent Stan miniseries, that was the last time I saw Odessa Young. She's absolutely phenomenal here. Essentially the anchor of the movie, with her character Eva filling the shoes of her dead husband, having to deal with the various personalities of a fishing crew, and ultimately being the one to bear the burden of making the decision that will obviously have very huge consequences for so many people. Alongside her, Joe Cole, who's best known as John Shelby to Peaky Blinders fans, is another standout here who's essentially a shoulder to lean on for Eva and helping her to keep the rest of her crew in line, and also stepping up when things take a turn for the creepy, we'll say. Also, special shout out as well to Rory McCann, as in Game of Thrones' Hound, or Scott's Porridge Oats to a certain niche audience out there. Always just such a magnetic, larger than life presence whenever he's on screen in anything, and that is again the case here in The Damned, with him a vocal part of the fisherman that Eva now finds under her charge. All in all, The Damned is a very fine way to get horror off on a strong foot for me in early 2025. Just a hugely atmospheric, really cleverly crafted period horror that certainly has a few curveballs up its sleeve, is what I'm going to leave out there on that one. Now, period horror it's one of those where it can be really tough to get right. It's either going to be, when you do get it right, it's something special, like The Witch, for example. But there are so many other examples of period horrors that just feel dull and drab. And The Damned does not do that at all. I mean, at times it does feel dull and drab, but that's in its atmosphere, in about, again, I mentioned the color palette, just how it mirrors the mood of what's happening in the story in just the best possible way. So for me, for The Damned, I think it's a very nice addition to horror. And again, it's just a very good way to get horror off and rolling in 2025. Because 2025, it's shaping up to be a huge year for horror. I mean, 2024 was great. 2023 was great. We're in a boom period the last couple of years for horror, and there's so much more to come, and for me, The Damned is an early highlight. Yes, I'm recording this literally not even 2 weeks into the year, but it's a very much a horror highlight of 2025 so far. Now, for those, you know, the more traditional types out there who are looking for a rating per se for The Damned, I would say for me it's a solid 7 out of 10, but 3.5 out of 5 if you want to go with that. Definitely a solid B. It's very solid. It's very beautiful, and ultimately, it's a very grim horror that's definitely well worth your time. Whether that's to rush into the cinemas if it's shown near you, or when that's coming for the film to come out on video on demand or DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, whatever it's going to get. As mentioned, The Damned is now in UK and US cinemas, with the film landing in various other markets throughout the rest of January. I believe Iceland gets a release on, I want to say it's like the 30th of January. But this is a film where, if you can find it, go and check it out. I will vastly, highly, definitely, strongly recommend it. And with that said, this has been What Culture Horror. I've been Andrew Pollard. Let us know in the comments whether you intend to check out The Damned. And if you have already, let us know what you made of it. We will be looking to do more review videos across 2025. We're trying out different things on the channel. I mean, we've got our list videos, we do news videos, and we're going to start to do reviews and interviews. On that front, there is a nice little interview coming up that should be on here in the next couple of days. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I will say no more. I'll keep that as a surprise. And there'll also be a review, I believe, as well, of Street Trash, the remake of Street Trash, which that is something I'm looking forward to watching as soon as I get done with this video. So expect a review of that ASAP. But as mentioned, this has been What Culture Horror. I've been Andrew Pollard. You be well, you be safe, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you down the road.